Or, if you really want to give Galdrian the god complex, like, my mother fell pregnant after listening to a certain opera. She always claimed that the composer was my father.
I mean, if you twist that right, she might not be wrong.
I'll go with that. My mother's journal states that my father was someone important, but it never states who. Yeah, I know who it is.
It's you from a different timeline.
I am my own father and my own grandfather. Wait.
It's just like that episode of Archer where he finally gets to see the face of his father in a dream, and it's just him.
If you see the Archer cold open where it's actually Bob's Burgers.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of mine already.
All right.
So, we were thinking my whole background thing would be I need to be taught some type of humility or maybe a little empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm so good at...
Because you're a murder hobo?
Yes. At passing judgment and punishment that they chose the most passed through force for me to protect. And that's why I have to go learn humility and everything to make sure that I don't kill the wrong people like I have been. My unique ability is not having any empathy.
Why don't you say
I don't know how to turn that into a sentence though. I protected the force too good.
How
You're
about
scratching this one spot on my neck, my legs start kicking.
how about
My
my
blood is so cold I don't get fleas.
I'd say my ability to turn the land against invaders scares even my druid master.
Very good. Okay, what was that again?
My ability to turn the land against anyone I perceive as an invader scares my druid masters.
Oh, that was a lot of writing.
Who I perceive as as an invader?
Yes.
Scares even my master.
Yes.
Masters.
You're up, Ardith.
Yay, the bundle of complications.
I mean, I've always written and perceived this. Well, hello. Suddenly, dog snoot. Come on, you. Come on. There you go. Come on. I know. Oh, I know. You don't want to bump your noggin.
There's nothing in the noggin.
There is, just not very much. Anyway, I've always perceived like this party in this world as more of a soap opera than anything else.
You're not wrong.
It is the like dark shadows of fantasy gaming. No.
I'm just going to throw stuff out that I wrote notes on. Mostly it's from that second campaign we did.
Mm-hmm.
There's that contract tattoo that appeared.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. Something Nephalia told Galdrian about her and Shannara's bloodline,
Mm-hmm.
and the Feywild connection that the Rascal mentioned. The Rascal in general.
Could be.
Her basic attitude for the world is the world can burn except for these guys, which is like family, some people she actually likes, her party.
She likes Galdrian.
Yes,
I mean,
she
you could put it as like, no matter what I do, I always feel pulled to follow the Rascal's teaching.
I mean, she's not really like.
Which is to say, basically, like, do what you want, always be free. Fuck everybody who gets in the way.
I mean, okay, yeah.
Or you'd be like, even though I'm not religious, I feel compelled to follow his teachings.
Yeah, because she's not. I mean, God's okay, sure, they're here. Big whoop.
Yeah. Big wolf, want to fight about it?
And then there's being protective of her sister, because I imagine she did a thing to make Shannara off limits at home. That only a few people actually know about. But that's not gonna that may not actually come up if we're not actually there. Yeah, I just wrote down.
I want to see the whole world.
There are a lot that there's stuff to work with, but which one? I don't know, like I said, I just wrote down notes. This could be useful. This could be.
I'm willing to break any rule to be free.
Steve, do you know what rally does in this?
Yes, rally is when you spend a recovery as a standard action. It's
Okay, so
and
you,
the first
that's
time you
healing
do it,
yourself.
yeah, the first time you do it in each session, it's
Okay,
free.
gotcha.
Oh, that's cheat sheet for all the
Oh, gotcha.
terminology, because I knew it would come up.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It's kind of emo. Just says I'm full of demons.
No.
I'm the only elf in the world with human ears.
Oh god, that's cursed.
I mean, if we can't come up with anything else, we could probably do that rascal one. Like I said, bundle up complications.
I mean, I think that would give you something to fall back on when someone's like, how dare you justify, or how dare you do whatever, and just be like, well, it was totally impugning on my freedoms.
Now she discovers she can have some.
And, that would give you a good excuse to, like, why'd you leave home when you could stay where you wanted to? Because you knew eventually, like, you would get pressed into the cycle of
Yeah.
the authority.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure someone's decided, hey, you'd make a better asset than an artisan. And she's like, I need to get out of here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, roll with that unless something else better comes up. So what was it?
No matter what I do, I always seem to follow the rascal's teachings.
It's a fan. That looks really cool.
We'll see how ours turned out, and if you want to get it.
Can I see? Oh, nice.
Made her a little dingy.
I'm
But
breaking.
You know Galdrian's gonna try to scratch behind her ears, right?
Okay, Lord.
He's like, I'm gonna make you like me.
Uh-huh.
He's
So
gonna
it's
be like, oh, you're my.
Freedom and what you want.
Yeah, like freedom,
You
personal
might act
personal
funny, but as
agency.
soon as I scratch behind your ears, you're gonna like it.
I just made myself like a cheat sheet for my battle. Like, okay, starting battle. Okay, engaged, nobody around. Okay, engaged, I'm fighting.
The next thing we got to do, and I need to make a printout of it.
Hang on there. I don't want to lose my thought here.
My thoughts head empty.
You're right
I mean,
though.
usually.
Having these on cards for monk is nearly have to.
Yeah.
So there's a foxy lady.
Boom, boom, bam, boom, boom,
And then
bam.
You one up,
I'm
Rolo?
gonna start making
Of course she
Shannara.
does.
Come on.
I'm gonna base her off of artist.
Yeah.
But Shannara is chubby.
She's gonna
I
be a
mean,
little chubby.
there's options in there for that.
Yeah, you can increase the.
Come on, Rolo.
How bizarre.
She wasn't chubby in the.
Yeah, but she went through about,
Oh, come
what,
on.
25 years of
25
hell?
years.
Yeah.
Did Rolo
I mean,
take
not
too
hell,
long?
hell, but... Hey, all of your older sister's expectations are now being dumped on you. Congratulations.
Well, now she's got Big Brother Galdrian to look after her. Which is why
I
I,
mean-
guess I increased his wisdom score from 8 to 10.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why Big Sister decided, I need to get out of here for a bit, and you're coming with me. And then probably regretted it several times since.
I mean, I could have left her behind, I guess.
No,
No.
Galdrian was.
We
perfectly
would
happy
have
with that.
overruled you.
If Artist Dad were still alive, he would have asked you to take him too.
We would just kidnap him.
I like to imagine that Galdrian like fanboys over Artist's dad a little bit
I don't have a
once he
1d3
finds out he's an artist.
dice.
1d6 divided by 2. Round down. Or there's a 1d3 in here. It looks like the weirdest fucking rhombus you'll ever... Because it's like a rounded rhombus so that it doesn't have points on the end.
Yeah. Good old Ramba.
So, the next thing we got to do is choose your icon relationships.
I have none.
I'm going to give you their titles,
Okay.
but I have not decided, aside from a couple.
Another elf called Gydrian,
Okay.
but she's a girl.
The ones I have decided for you. Galdrian has... Okay, so you get 3 points. Each point is a d6. At the end of each session, you roll those d6s, and their results determine how your relationship with these things affect the game. You have one positive relationship with the Diabolist.
Gee, I wonder who that is.
She's coming for you.
She wishes.
She refuses to let you go.
It might be something.
You can run
I
across
got it.
time. But she'll be back.
So technically, Ardith
Mm-hmm.
has a -1 with the Elf Queen.
Yeah, that tracks.
I mean,
Suna is going to have a -1 with the Emperor. So the Elf Queen, if you have not guessed it, is your mother,
Oh boy,
or more specifically, it is
the wildfire mistress,
it is the Wildfire Mistress, the matriarchy.
which my mother's trying to be.
Is trying to be, yes. She is at this point igniting a civil war to be that thing, and has technically already claimed that title for herself.
Oh dear lord.
does she know that?
No,
Do I know that?
no.
Okay.
Nobody knows who the Wildfire, like even
Okay.
her dad doesn't know who
Okay.
the Wildfire Mistress is.
I mean, we don't know who the original one is either,
Correct. Well,
because that never came up.
that never came. I know who it is.
We know who the second one, next
Yeah,
one was.
You know who the next one was, and that was only because she flat out told you.
Yeah.
And you know, her telling you probably wouldn't have been anybody can say it, but she actually
I mean,
showed the authority.
She did it in her place of power.
Yeah. They basically got taken to the seat of power, and she revealed who she was.
Yeah,
And
that
she's
was
like sitting there like, oh yeah, you guys, we're gonna meet the Wildfire Mistress, and she took us there, and we sat there for like a few minutes, and she looked around, and she was like, oh, I guess it's my turn, and she just
pretty much
got
popped
up
over,
and sat into the seat.
put on the regalia, and it's like, hi. And I'm like, I mean, the last line of that episode, quote unquote, was me going, fuck me. Really loud.
Who's
And-
the emperor?
The Emperor is the Emperor. I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Ednoran. He is the Emperor of the Sunchaser Sovereignty.
The
Like-
one that put me in the
Like
prison thing?
I really want to express how. So there's this thing that I watched that was like, he's talking about the army, and he goes, unlike the Marines, which can be deployed at any point, it takes an act of Congress to deploy the army, which means you fucked up so bad you got the Republicans and the Democrats to agree on something. That's basically where Suna is you fucked up so bad that you got like the entire imperial court to agree to get experts to come get you.
Wow.
Not yet.
That's,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's
On
probably
your
why.
way.
That's probably why you were in that.
Like that's where
simulation.
that's where you're heading. Because so the first game ended about 3 weeks after the point which we're going to start. And that's when they started hunting you in the original timeline.
I mean,
So like right now you have started just a one person like fuck you campaign against the Empire.
they did
Way to go,
wrong.
Rambo.
Now imagine
They
if Rambo
did
could
wrong.
literally control the trees and the
Yeah,
rocks
exactly. Like,
and the creatures and the shit.
like Rambo
Right.
won.
Can't help it if they
Guy
did wrong.
against.
Okay, just this question. For me and Mike, would our characters have noticed something brewing before we left?
You probably not, because your mother kind of shielded y'all from that, and your father really like kept you more on the guild side of things as opposed to the criminal side of things. Probably not on you. On you, you probably would have been approached at some point
Yeah.
to like someone like casually checking your loyalty to the current leadership.
Yeah. And I'm ambivalent. Like I'm not. Like I'm more loyal to the family. If her dad's coming to me, then there's
Yeah.
probably like a connection there.
That's one thing I have it written that like you and he are personal friends.
Yeah, I can work with that. Yeah.
Which even if you haven't been in the area for long,
Yeah.
you know, like he's a
Like souls.
he's a friendly, cool dude.
He has never met a stranger in his life.
Yeah. Which one was yours?
You had to drag Galdrian away from kicking and screaming.
So do you have one positive, negative, and neutral, or is it?
Different
Does it?
Yeah.
No. And I'm just telling you the one that I have defined with you,
Okay.
which I'm going to change yours,
Okay.
actually. In the base thing, it is the Orc Lord, and I don't have, like, that's not a concept. I mean, orcs exist, right? But
Yeah.
they're not like a unified thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the Orc Lord to the Centaur Lords.
Okay.
So you have a positive relationship to the Centaur Lords, +1. I'm going to read off the rest of the list, and you get to decide where to put your other 2 points and whether they will be positive or negative relationships. And you can put them more into these if you want, so you can have a maximum of 3. Or you can split it out amongst 3 different things. Just know that putting more into it tends to get you more.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not, like, one of the things that they suggested was like the Archmage is one of them. And they're like, if you roll high on that dice, it might influence the likelihood that you will get a magic item during the game. So there's no like set thing, and it's kind of up
Not
to
for
me.
you.
It's up to me as the GM to interpret the rolls before the next game.
Yeah.
The full list, we have the Archmage, which I have not decided who it is. The Crusader. The Crusader is the lawful evil paladin, basically. I have not decided who that is. The Diabolist, which I have not decided in what form that bond will take, because that being does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
It is literally a completely different being in this time. The Dwarf King, which does exist, he actually lives on the island of the dragons.
Dwarfs are actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the dwarves are actually pretty dope.
Yeah, they're
They're
real friendly.
they're literally stone people. The Elf Queen, which I'm going to change to the Wildfire Mistress. So let me write my changes down here. Icon changes. Elf Queen is.
So what's the benefit of taking a negative? I know roleplay, of course.
Let me find the thing and I'll read it to you. Okay, so they specifically have a thing using negative relationships in a positive way. The most straightforward to use your relationship points is on positive or conflicted connections that generally provide you with outright assistance or useful information. What's the use of a negative relationship? Usually it provides inside knowledge, special skills, opportunistic allies, or possibly some sort of supernatural advantage against that icon.
Okay. That makes sense.
So you can play it either way. So the Elf Queen...
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm surprised it's a positive relationship with the Diabolist.
I mean, she needs you.
Okay. So the full list...
She figures she can work with anything that comes at her.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All
All right,
3
so-
guys.
Dwarf Queen, Dwarf King we got, Elf Queen we got, the Emperor we got, the Great Gold Worm does exist. I'm gonna tell you none of y'all know about it. And if you really want your soul bonded to a great big fuck off gold dragon, tell me now, but I'm not gonna tell you how or why. The High Druid does exist, but I'm changing it to the Druid Moots, which is to say basically a collection of druids in,
Druid Court.
yeah, it's the Druid Court in the Enchanted Forest. I feel you would also have one to there, but it might be conflicted. The Lich King in the base game, he also exists. He is there in the Blood Bayou.
I think we got down there in the Graveyard of Ancients.
No.
Fuck you, Blood Governor.
The Orc Lord are now the Centaur Lords. The Priestess, which is supposed to be like the eternal embodiment of good, she exists. I don't know precisely how.
Yeah, my other character got with her.
Nice.
The Prince of Shadows is... See, it says he's a trickster whose exploits reshape the world nearly as often as they redistribute its wealth. I'm going to say this is like a legendary thief of some kind.
Ping.
I just don't know precisely in what way. It's kind of like one of the books that I love has a character who goes by a name, and like literally children across the world know that name, but they don't know who he is or what he does. He's just like the boogeyman, but he's just a guy. Like, he has no magical powers. He's just like a pretty good thief and a killer. So I would imagine that this is the same way. The Prince of Shadows is just like this enigmatic figure that everyone knows and nobody wants to talk about because then he might come steal their shit.
100% up my alley.
You have the three. And the three were... So back in the day, there were your 5 chromatic dragons.
Mm-hmm.
They are the first 5 dragons that ever existed. One of them is dead and in the ground. One of them, so the red, he got destroyed.
He got gat.
He got gat. And like literally every red dragon was hunted down and destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
The black dragons were basically the least amongst the dragons, and they got exploited to the point they are nearly extinct.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves the red, the green, the blue, and the white. And they are currently on that island in the center of the world. And basically they're more or less bound by several treaties with the world at large who just turned against them at some point way, way back in the day. So they have to follow very strict rules as to how they interact with the world, which is why things like the dwarves were made and why like the dragonborn were made. Because the way the treaty was worded is like, pure-blooded dragons won't do a thing. And everyone's like, yeah, cool, because that's all that exists. And then they were like, haha, fuck you. And they made dragon men. And so like those guys can go out.
Mm-hmm.
They exist as well. So you each have 2 points left to distribute into things. So you can tell me if you want to increase one that I've listed, or if you would like another one, how many, and whether it's positive, negative, or conflicted.
I have an idea for one
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
Okay, because you said my forest is like up in this area, right? Like
So
right in
your
here?
grove is like up here.
Yeah, up here.
The forest goes all the way down.
Okay, so I'm thinking the Dwarf King, because he sends people over there to get killed by me.
No.
Oh.
No, the Dwarf King is pretty laid back. Basically, the dwarves, as they were created specifically to be servants of the dragons. But like the way that they're bound to the dragons is those guys, like the dwarves specifically living on that island, cannot be directly killed by them. So they basically spend their whole time trying to break the rules, like trying to stymie the dragons because it's funny and because it's fun. Like they're real laid back and party guys.
So are you actively against your mom?
Well,
No, I wouldn't
not
think so.
really.
Yeah.
So then you want to make it conflicted instead of negative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the original Wildfire Mistress, artist's entire thought in her is like, do not want to get anywhere near her notice.
Yeah.
And then with her mother, it's more like, okay, all I wanted to do with my life was be a painter and have everyone leave me alone. That didn't happen. Because, like I said, several someones decided she'd make a better asset. So either as a thief, as a spy, as an assassin, as an heir to the Wildfire Mistress, you know, all of the above. And it's more like, I don't want my choices made for me. Even though I don't know what choices I want to make at this point.
Then I have an idea for a third.
So what is your second?
The Druid Moots.
Positive or negative?
Conflicted.
Conflicted?
Like, she loves her mother, she just doesn't always like her.
I would like to think that I think I'm on their good side because I'm
You're totally doing what they want.
doing what
So-
they want.
Do you want to increase?
How can I increase
Do you want
conflicted?
How soap opera do we get?
do you want
Sorry,
to
what?
be at a
How soap opera?
2-point relationship with them conflicted? Or do you want
What do
2
you mean?
points with the Emperor
That was
negative?
really
No.
cool to me.
Mhm.
I was like, just thinking pumping
I
me out of
mean-
this stuff.
I mean, it's not necessarily that
She can't
like
affect
directly
you.
negative things will happen.
I mean,
I want to put that.
the way she was.
I mean, I'm gonna get kidnapped and in prison for years on end. So
I mean, that's
I mean,
historically that has happened. but now you actually have people you're traveling with.
Because otherwise, none of the other groups really. I don't know that I would have done anything with them.
So you want to make
So
it
I
double
guess,
conflicted with the. Okay.
I think I know mine.
Okay.
I'm gonna go crazy with the Great Gold Worm for 1, positive,
Okay.
and Centaurs 2 for positive. And maybe they're related. I don't know.
You said 2 Centaur Lords?
Yeah.
Okay. Galdria.
I'm gonna pump up Diabolus to 2.
Okay.
Gotta leave her wanting a little bit more, so I'm not going up to 3. Arcanist, positive 1.
Who?
Or you said the
Archmage.
Arcanist?
The Archmage? Okay.
The magic thingy.
Positive, you said?
Yeah. Because he's a student of magic, so.
You get another mask. Do
I
not put it
figure
on.
with mine, like the centaurs aren't well known. Like everyone's like fuck off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the Great Gold Worm is definitely unknown. Like I have no idea that I'm connected to it. So like that's 2 unknowns, so it leaves a lot of open space.
So basically, like, this center section of the world right here,
Yeah.
that's the Centaur Plains.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much worldwide the, like, no-go zone. They will strike you dead
Yeah.
for fun.
Yeah, well, that ties into my one unique thing. That ties into a lot of open-ended bullshit.
And Ardith.
Prince of Shadows, +1.
Okay.
I figure we can put in the rascal in that. At least that's the form that it takes.
Okay. You got one more.
We put 0 into the one into Wildfire Mistress as positive.
Say what?
We put 1 into Wildfire Mistress.
Yeah, you got
No, that's
the elf.
Yeah,
The
like-
elf.
Oh, Queen.
Yeah, the Elf Queen is the Wildfire Mistress.
Yeah, I know. We put 1 into that to make
So
it,
you're-
that,
No,
to make
that's
it
not,
0.
that's not how it works.
That's not how it
Does
works.
that work? Okay.
No, it's you choose your relationship, which is
Okay.
conflicted, and
Okay.
whether you want it to be one or 2.
Then I don't know. Because those are the only 2 I can think of.
Oh, I could
Now,
get
was-
a negative with the Crusader.
Was the Great Gold Worm like good, evil, like we don't know? Like is it
So-
does it follow
so-
D&D chronology where like the
Metallic dragons.
Yeah.
So if
they're legendary, like unheard of.
yeah, completely like at some point, even the chromatic dragons will be like, oh yeah, they were around, but nobody has seen them since anybody can remember. Like
Okay.
even the elves who have been around forever don't remember a time
Okay.
recently when they were.
Then yeah, I like my choice. Give you a
Give,
headache.
give yourself a double conflicted relationship with the Wildfire Mistress,
So
or negative with the Diabolist.
I mean,
this is true.
this is true.
You probably would have had a lot of dealings with
It went.
the Emperor, just because like part of, and this isn't a personal relationship. Keep in mind,
Yeah.
because part of what the authority does is like steal shit from him and then smuggle it back into his life.
We've got this thing you might want to buy.
Hey, I hear you're looking for a thing. How did you know? I just rub the serial number off. The Crusader. So the Crusader to me is going to be the human, the human icon, because they've like that's why your people aren't on that island over there anymore, is because they basically went full on Age of Heroes and
Yeah.
kicked out every monster that they could find or killed them.
Yeah.
I'll have to come up with a better name for it.
I bet you get along well with Annie.
Let's see, the Diabolist. I mean, that's always a possibility. You probably wouldn't have dealt with the Dwarf King much. Elf Queen, you got the Emperor, the Great Gold Worm, probably not. The High Druid, probably not. The Lich King, probably not. The Centaurs, definitely not.
And which one is
I'm
like,
thinking Diabolist negative. It's in character.
The priest, I think I'm going to change the priestess to actually be the technocracy, because they have very much a like, not that you guys have ever met them. Well, you've met one, and he was pretty much a like, we'll do whatever we think is right to do the things we think are right. So they have very much like a doctrine of how they want the world to go. So like maybe them, and that one's kind of pushing it because
Yeah.
really like that's what the leadership goes of the authority goes through. Like the grunts don't really.
Yeah, be either Emperor or Diabolist.
I mean, you could always up Prince of Shadows or the Diabolist.
Yeah. Diabolist, yeah.
Yeah, you're voting for that, aren't you?
Yeah, negative with the Diabolist.
Yeah, sure.
Negative.
Yeah.
Or conflicting.
Yeah,
Let's do conflicting.
because it's a little less that the more I thought about the West, she doesn't so much hate her as she's very, very pissed off that it does not matter.
I thought of the Crusader for me. A -1, he could be the only one that had survived that I tried to get in my force.
Mm.
No.
I mean, you can
No,
have
he-
the negative, but
You can have the negative, but he like the individual that I would consider to be the Crusader is basically the guy who runs all of the militaries for, you remember Marcus?
Oh.
Yeah,
okay,
like
that's
he's
not
all the
what I
way
was
over
thinking.
there.
Okay.
So like he doesn't leave. He is a sun priest.
But you could be a monster that he was
Which,
trying to
actually-
send people to eradicate.
I'm gonna flip those. So the Crusader is gonna be the technocracy, and the priestess is gonna be.
So they're the good guys? Not from where I'm standing.
Hey, if it makes you feel better. In our second campaign, when we actually went over there, Hardith was freaked the fuck out because there were like patrols and they weren't trying to shake you down for your
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Like
She was paranoid.
like they were going on the roads, and there would just be like an armored column marching up the road, and they're like, it's like hands up, like here's our bags, and the column's like, the fuck is this? Like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, we thought you were just. No, we're just patrolling the roads for monsters and shit. It's like, really? You don't want anything? No. This is great. This is wonderful. All right, so we got that. All right, the last thing to do is decide backgrounds. Okay. So backgrounds are your skill sets. You have 8 points apiece, except for those of you who got things that give you more. You can have 5 points in a single background.
So we have how many?
You have 8. So one I was going to suggest for you is Enchanted Forest Guardian.
Okay.
One I was going to suggest for you is Spike Jack.
Yep.
One I was going to suggest for you was Guild Artisan.
Already had it on the list.
And then one I was going to suggest for you, which you already caught, was Wandering Bard or Wandering
Yeah.
Minstrel.
yeah. Pumped 5 points into that.
Yeah.
He's real good at the music and stuff.
Yeah. I went Spikejack 3, got Monk 1, Nomad 3, and Slave 1. I think that's...
Since we're going to have to figure some stuff out, let me... What were yours again? Spike Jack?
Spikejack 3, Monk 1, and that's like monastic in a monastery
Mm-hmm.
type thing. Nomad 3, and Slave 1.
So let's come up with the name of your monastery.
Okay.
Uh,
Whereabouts
so-
would we think it...
Basically, the desert extends all the way up to here, which
Okay.
that line should not be there. I just think I put it on with something that didn't erase.
Yeah.
So it was probably like somewhere in here.
Okay.
What I would like, and I'll let you come up with the name and kind of the general population and all that, but it was one of those like extremely, what would you call it? They mostly venerated through like navel gazing,
Okay.
as opposed to like actual, monks who, sought a craft to do whatever, or were like looking to better the world. Like these guys were just so focused inward, and the way they did that was by cultivating gardens in the desert. Like they were so the hardship of growing in the desert was their way of studying life.
Okay.
So that's kind of, I imagine, if you want to tie slave to that.
No, I figure the way I figure it is it goes nomad, slave for a short amount of time, where he's also, that's like pit fighter, gladiator kind of slave. He wins his freedom, and he goes to the monks to recover, and
So
And then he's taken on by the spike jacks.
So how about this? Reverse that just a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
So there's the city called Hycosia that's flying over the Hycosian desert,
Okay.
and it has a robust slave trade,
Okay.
amongst other things. And basically, you could have won your freedom, but it's one of those like you get exactly what you wish for, which is where they cast Featherfall on you, then push you off the side of the city.
Okay.
So you just land in the desert.
Okay.
At which point you've wandered and then found said monastery.
Okay.
If that's
That's fine.
appealing to you.
That works for me.
So I will leave you to come up with the name of the people who enslaved you, or rather how you were enslaved,
Okay.
and by whom.
I will still tie into the halfling caravans. I was traveling the desert with the halfling caravans,
Mhm.
and they were waylaid by pirates, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sand pirates are a thing.
Sand pirates, and was captured, forced to fight, pushed off,
Mhm.
and wanted to go to the monastery to recover from horrific violence.
Yeah.
And I joined the Spike Jacks and got more horrific violence.
Well, to be fair, a lot of being a spike jack is just looking scary and
Yeah.
having the power of an organization behind you.
Yeah. Well, I imagine I got tired of the way of staying in one spot. Like he's too itchy to keep moving.
Yeah. Write that up.
Okay. Question though. Probably not. The floating ship never interacts with centaurs, right?
Nope.
I have to figure out how.
So I
That
can give you that,
Okay.
in as much as, so at some point your family was driven off of that island,
Okay.
and they were probably driven off over here,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where a lot of like the legions go,
Yeah.
and that's butting up against centaur lands.
Okay.
So they probably would have driven you like off that way, and then you came down.
Yeah.
Through
And
centaur.
for some reason, to be defined, they didn't kill me. They liked me.
Probably because you're a lot like them.
Yeah.
You're
fair
not
enough.
human.
You're,
Yeah.
you're,
Or
you're,
humanoid.
You're part animal.
you're a monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they get that.
Okay.
Write up like maybe just like a paragraph of that whole route.
Okay.
That way I'll have it to work off of.
And this is called what?
It's called Aesonia, Aesonia, but it's called the Golden Empire for short. And it is like every Greek and Roman
Mm-hmm.
thing you can, like all the Mediterranean myths put together.
Do you want me to write that up into the Facebook group and
Yeah,
send
you
it,
can just drop it in there. Galdrian, your skills.
So I went with Wandering Minstrel 5. A review of that is from the Silver Tongue talent.
Okay.
I went with Mercenary 2.
hmm
Or actually, I might swap that around with this other one. Haven't decided yet. Physician Trainee 4, from the period where he was studying under or he was like informally learning how to administer medicine and healing and stuff like that.
hmm
Because yeah, he can do like the magical stuff, but he also
Actually knows first aid.
he actually knows first aid and stuff for like medicine and basic anti-infection. And
hmm What was that one?
that one was 4, and then Mercenary 2.
Okay. Ardith.
I got Guild Artisan. I'm still divvying out stuff. I put down Problematic Rogue for Hire since she wasn't with an adventuring guild at one point when he hired her.
Mhm.
And then, like, that could cover pretty much anything you have a rogue do.
Yeah.
And would knife throwing fall under that?
No.
Okay. No, I'm just checking.
I can give you a good, what I feel would be in the spirit of Ardith,
Uh-huh.
which is like you had a heart-to-heart with your mother and father about positively utilizing your skills, so you learned like actual carnival knife play, like stage juggling and stuff with knives. So like you can actually do performative.
I'm fine with putting the knife throwing under its own little thing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah. I was just checking. Just would that fit somewhere in there since she's
Yeah.
a knife specialist? That's what I was checking first.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm not sure how to word it, but I'm going to say family upbringing because, you know, they're like, you said they were middle upper class, and that comes with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Because that would make her well educated, have to do the
I mean,
social shit.
Upper class upbringing is good.
Okay.
What is the flying ship called?
It's the city of Hycosia, Hykosia.
I mean, just because she doesn't like to, you know, be social, doesn't mean she can't do it. So 3 to artisan, 3 to rogue, 2 to family, and then 3 to the knife throwing.
2 to family.
Yeah.
And
Because again, she doesn't mean she likes to do it.
let's put that as what do you have it as?
Which one?
The knife throwing.
I haven't yet. Haven't gotten that far yet.
Do you want to do like stage fighting, or do you want it specifically to be like juggling or throwing?
Yeah, probably. For stage fighting, I mean, she knows how to fight anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of not hitting them with edged weapons.
We'll just say knife performance art.
Okay. I figure I could, under Promech Rogue for Hire, I can like fit in an occasional heart of gold, something or other. Just might be problematic. And plus, if someone ever asked her to do an assassination, she would ask way too many questions for that person to be comfortable
They
with.
would no longer be comfortable with it.
Well, she doesn't like doing them, so there's that. And she has potential blackmail. Not that
Alright.
she's interested in it, but if you're gonna end someone's life, you might as well do it right.
Suna.
Something to do with cooking, or since I have to cook for myself in my forest, culinary.
Let's look at what they suggest for your class.
Just thinking that, or some kind of animal lover.
Can't give her that clothing.
Nope.
Some possible backgrounds include tribal hunter-gatherer, avalanche prophet, oh that's fucking dope, cult zealot, river guide, tribal healer, failed shaman, wild temple priest, mystic waterfall guardian, and raised by wolverines. Which, you know, I would suggest enchanted forest guardian. You could do self-taught forest chef.
I'm good with that.
Let's do self-taught chef.
Okay.
So how do you want to split that up? Or do you want to add more?
The only other one I could think of is, but I think I already have, like no. Don't I have like an attunement, a land attunement?
Yes,
I was gonna
to your
say
forest.
a nature attunement. I don't really have anything else for background.
Well, you just want to do 5 and 3?
Yeah.
This concludes the character creation portion of our day.